male-female relationships in this country and family life in this country, I would much rather put the blame on Daniel Patrick Moynihan and his Moynihan report that came out in 1965. I think that publication and the policy implications of that had more devastating effect on the African American community than anything that has been done in the 20th century. And he gained so much notoriety out of that book that he's become now the senior senator from the state of New York and one of the most powerful people in the United States Senate. Nobody ever heard of him until he talked about our mothers, called us domineering and aggressive, said that the reason that the black man was in the position that he was in was because the black woman had castrated him, etc. And I think we brought more of Moynihan stuff than we brought of anything else. I think that the women's movement has always been peripheral. I mean, you might talk about the women's movement sort of riding on the coattail of the black liberation struggle in the 60s, but a lot of people rode on our coattails. And a lot of people gained benefit from the black movement than us ourselves. You know, I think that's one kind of a discussion, but I don't know that the women's movement in and of itself has changed our ideas about relationships. I think there's been a number of other kinds of negative definitions about males and females and our internalizing that has had an impact on us, that we have sort of like given up on us because they are sort of ready definitions of why a black man ain't this and a black woman ain't this, and we bought that. And next thing you know, we write it in our novels. And next thing you know, we're waiting to exhale. And I'm not saying that some of these are not good novels, but that's what they are. They're novels. They're literature. Excellent pieces of literature. But people read those things and take them as if they were real and go on then and to define other people as if they were real. So we're at a situation now where only about 46% of all black families are two-parent families. So obviously, we are in a crisis. And we've got to figure out how we can come back together as black men and women. And these men are not all in jail. I mean, 42% of all black men who are not incarcerated are either single, never married, widowed, separated, divorced. It's a bunch of them out there. So we got a job to do. Question just behind the young lady, yes.
I wanted to know, in your travels and what you've been studying about black people, have you find it's been more theoretical than reality? Because I hear so many different types of individuals speaking about such different things that have no knowledge, more or less like it's a theory of living rather than a reality of living. And the other part of our question is, when will you do that?
But now, when you say it's a theory, what scholars are you talking about that's more theory than practice?
In our educational system now, I don't know if you've heard about the controversy we're having now about our children not knowing the Holocaust and so on. And it's more or less like we're teaching a theory rather than a reality of what this is. And it seems like we're living a theory rather than a reality.
Well, see, that, you know, the African scholar that I was saying, Theophile Obanga, in his book, his main thing about Western society is that Western society is more sort of intellectual, theoretical than it is of pragmatism, of actually doing this thing. And one of the things I think about looking at the lives of older black women is like, what did they do? Some of these women didn't have no long conversation with you, but you could see in their everyday life what they were doing. And so it is obvious that theory sort of guides our life, but we must act. So that if we want our children to learn, we must do. It's not sitting down making a whole lot of theoretical discussions about intellectually how one learns. If you want a child to learn how to read, you must put the time in to teach that child how to learn how to read. So just doing a test and getting a test score to say that this child is at some percentile, it does not mean that child cannot learn how to read. It means that you just got to take more time to teach that child how to read, which means you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to do the work. And it is much easier to do the theory than it is to do the work. But if each one of us only did a little bit each day, don't have to do a whole lot. If we just gave our children 1 hour of quality time a day, and I don't mean our biological children, I mean African American children. I mean, if you wanted a tutorial to go forth for our children, we were talking today about the fact that our children need systematic study on how to pass that SAT. We know that other people do that. We know that other people start doing it when the kids are in the 7th and 8th grade, getting them prepared to take it when they're junior and getting prepared to take it when they're a senior. It's easy. We just have to get one person who says, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that the kids who come out of this school is prepared to take the SAT. So it's a matter of doing. And we have been doers. And that's what we need to do again. We need to turn our attention to doing what we know we have to do. And it's hard work. Got one question here, and then I'm coming here. Yes. Okay. That's a good question. I'm not too sure. I can easily give you the questions. Black sociologists, I'm not sure. It just depends. I just quit all my jobs and things, so I'm not sure. The ancestors is going to make all things come possible. But I'm really putting a lot of energy in trying to get the International Black Women's Congress going, because there's a lot of work that we as women can be doing for ourselves and for our families. And so then for me to do that, I've just got to concentrate all of my energies on that. So whether or not I'll be able to come in October, I'm not absolutely sure, but you know, I'm a past president of that organization, and I have a great commitment to that organization. So what I can do, I'm very, very willing to do, but I can give you the questions. We can do that afterward. And the last question belongs to the sister here.
First of all, I want to continue and say that I'm just a little nervous because the speech is so dynamic.
Thank you.
You're the second sister I heard speak. I heard Khalid Muhammad speak, a whole bunch of different men. But you're the second sister besides the told me actually spoken on truth.
All right.
People not being far left or far right, but just far straight on the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say as a young 22-year-old independent producer,
All right.
communication company, that young people are really listening to what you have to say. They really are. They listen to you through the rap music. I mean, not you per se, but your message. It's like when I hear Chuck D and Soldier and Farside and all these other groups, they speak. They're really listening to the ancestors or to the elders. They really are listening. So we're really going to get the job done, but we are really in tune with you. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope I was bad.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Remind me of my mama so much.
Our African Ball that's coming up soon, our second annual African Ball for the seniors, and also our normal lectures April 22nd. Thank you.